Starting the video. Happy New Year, everybody. How are you? And you know, my buddy Gabby Fish is here with me today.
Hi, Happy New Year,
She's
everybody.
saying hello from just off camera. You might see her later. So, you know, last year we talked about resolutions, and about this time, right after the New Year, a lot of you weighed in. And listen, you know, I have no judgment as to what your resolutions are. Maybe you think resolutions are silly, and why should we think because January 1st comes along that we're going to lead our lives any differently or have any different dreams and hopes? Probably not. But we're doing a Facebook Live at the moment. That's okay, Bonnie. I'll get with you later. So, you know, it's not like you have to have a resolution. I mean, you know, I know it's kind of like a thing to say, hey, did you make any resolutions for 2019? But I know a lot of you do. It's a time for reflection. On the holidays, we get to take hopefully a little time off work, a little time off the regular responsibilities of our lives, and it gets us to thinking, you know, what are we doing? And your birthday might have made you a year older, but when the year passes, you know, the calendar flips over, you know, we feel it. And as I said in leading up to this, maybe it's my age. I turned 69 this year. I don't have a big, tremendous, angst about being 69. I'm not even sure what that means. It's about the same as being 59 or 39 or 29 in terms of what you want to do with your life. But I do feel the pressure of the passing of time. I have a number of friends. I just wrote you all about our dear Everwalker friend, Lorraine Brazier, who lost her life this week. And I just, for some reason, have a number of friends, and not really at old age, suffering with cancer and other things. So it's just a time that I've been thinking to make myself, not go through a year in any unconscious way. In any way that I might say at this time next year, I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I didn't really work on becoming more of this or less of this. So what I've decided, and we'll see if I can stick to it, it's going to take a lot of focus and discipline. I've decided to take 6 mantras, one each for the weekdays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, things that I value, ways of being that I value, and then one for the weekend. And all through 2019, if every Monday is Be Positive Day, which is what I've assigned it, I'm going to wake up on Monday. I'm going to look at that calendar in case I don't remember what Mondays are all about. And that day is going to be positive. You know, people who interview me often say, oh, you're always, like a tiger. You're always on a drive and, chasing after your dreams. Well, not really. I'm human. I have self-doubts that creep in. I have that little monkey chatter voice that comes in to say, why me? Why didn't I get that? And instead of focusing on what I love, what I have, everything in my life that is positive. So I'm going to make Monday Be Positive Day and not allow those, it is good always to analyze where you are and why perhaps you didn't achieve at this or, get this particular something you were chasing after. But I've decided to make Mondays the day that I don't let any negative monkey chatter slip into my brain all day long. I'm going to, don't go there. Today is Be Positive Day. So that's my mantra for Mondays. Tuesday is going to be the moment. Eyes wide open. It's so easy to say, and many of you who meditate and do yoga, in other ways of grasping the moment. And we just said that it's important to examine a life, to look back. Why did you do things this way? Are you going to mature and become better at doing those things the next time? Yes, but on Tuesdays in 2019, I'm going to make it the day of the moment. All day long, I'm going to just be right where I am right now. And it's okay if it's good or bad. Something that's just happened that I didn't like, I'm going to be in it and not somewhere else, not dreaming. Dreaming's good, and that's going to come up on Friday. But on Tuesday is going to be my day of the moment, grasping the moment, feeling everything I feel, being, it's almost like being on a drug where you're super aware, you're uber aware all day long. I'm going to see if I can achieve that. Wednesday is going to be Happy Day, fun, laughter. I went to see the Dalai Lama years ago, and it was an amusing. It was at the Hollywood Bowl, and he was late. He was traveling all day. He had been flying from Guam to Honolulu, and he was late. So we were listening to tabla players. I think I've had about enough of all the tabla playing I ever really want to listen to that night. But we were waiting for him, and the MC of the evening would come back on stage every now and then and say, he's on his way. He's so sorry to make you all wait, but he's coming. And then he finally got there. And I don't know if you've ever heard the Dalai Lama, but he has a very high-pitched voice. It's a little bit on the funny side. And he came out and he says, "Oh, I am now very old and I am very tired. I have been traveling to 24 hours in the airplane and the cars, and I'm very tired. But I want to tell you, especially you Americans, that the most important thing for you to remember is to be happy. You Americans forget all the time to eat and to drink and to hold your friends close and just to be happy." So, in a way, all of us kind of looked around at each other and said, "Are you kidding me? $175 a ticket? And that's the wisdom we got? Just be happy?" And he said, "And now I am very tired. I'm very old. I am going to go. I'm going to leave you with this message." So that's all the message we got. And we thought, you know what? We better buck up and be enlightened and just take in what he said, really take it in. And I must say, I am one. I think I enjoy every day, but I don't. I forget to just simply be happy, feel the pleasure of this life that I get to live. So Wednesday is going to be my day to lighten up. Almost every other day I've just got to, let's go do it. Let's get the discipline going. Let's push on through. Wednesday, I'm not going to take off. I'm not going to loaf around, but I'm going to be aware all day long of the pleasures of life. I'm going to be happy on Wednesdays. Thursday is kind of gloves in with that, is be kind. Again, I like to think of myself as a nice person, and I try to be polite as I go through life. But I have a leftover New Yorker sensibility that can be a little rough around the edges sometimes. In the workplace, with Everwalk and other things I do, I sometimes get a little too tough. And the old you get more work done, you get more people coming towards you with honey than you do with vinegar. I know that of myself. Maybe you don't need to remind yourself to be kind. But this coming year, every Thursday when I get out my little mantra sheet of the week, I'm going to remember that day to practice it all day long. What is the really big deal in your car? To be so angry if somebody would like to edge in and get in front of you when they didn't think ahead and get in the right lane. What is the big freaking deal? Can't I be kind and say, "You go ahead, go ahead"? Will it make me 3 seconds later than I was already? No. So be kind is going to be Thursday, and Friday is going to be dream big. This is sort of me anyway. That's me every day. Dream big. There are no limitations. Don't you tell me what I can't do. I'll decide what I can and can't do. But, with day-to-day hassles and obligations, sometimes we forget to dream. And so, all of these mantras, some of them bleed over into each other, but I'm going to really focus on that day, Friday. What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? How big is it? What could be exciting? What could be perhaps absolutely impossible? And it has nothing to do with realism. It'll never get done. But once you set a big high bar of a dream and you start imagining it and chasing toward it, it could be that that's not the place you actually go. I don't remember if you know Goethe and his famous quote about there's magic in dreaming it and beginning it. It may be that you never get there, but you're going to be taking steps. You're going to be climbing some magical ladder. Often when people come up to me at the end of performances and speeches and say, I know I have passion. I know I have conviction and commitment in me, but I don't have a dream. I'm lacking in imagining where I can go. I say imagine something's impossible. Imagine that you're going to be the next Beyonce. That's okay. And then you start singing in the shower, you start discovering that, maybe it's not actually Beyonce and a singing career you're going for, it's something else. But when you sit back and do nothing and you don't dream big, you won't get anywhere. So Friday's my dream big, no limitations day. And then the weekend, which kind of does bleed over into the moment of Tuesdays, is going to be to find awe. If I'm looking at the ocean, walking my dog in the morning, if I'm walking around my beautiful home, you see this mural back here of Cuba? I've got murals all over this room that were painted by a Russian painter. And I stand in here some days in awe of my Russian painter, Vasily Gladkov's talents. I stand here in awe of the places I've gotten to go in my life, starting with Cuba. And it just brings me a state of huge, deep appreciation. So my weekend mantra is going to be find awe. Find awe in the morning cup of cappuccino. It can be done. So here we go. They all sound so simple. They sound like things like, well, come on, don't you live your life that way anyway? Yes, in part, but not this focused way I'm going to do for 2019 of every day looking at that. Monday, be positive. Tuesday, the moment, eyes wide open. Wednesday, fun, laughter, happiness. What did Dalai Lama said? The purpose of life is to be happy. Thursday, be kind. Friday, dream big, no limitations, and the weekend, find awe. So I am going to, hopefully, my goal is, by the end of 2019, is that all these things have been ingrained so clearly that hopefully even by March, April, May, I don't need to look at the calendar. I know Thursday is Be Kind Day. And hopefully by the end of this year, when I report back into you next year and we talk about your resolutions and where you are with what you're dreaming about, who you want to be in your life, how you want to improve your own inner person, etc., I'm going to have all these things ingrained of just that's the way I live. I'm kind, I'm positive, I'm in the moment, I dream big, I'm in awe. And as again, I like to say that I already do all those things, but not in this focused way to get it nailed down, that that's the way I live. So these are my values, my 6 values. And I guess being that it's Friday, I'm already dreaming big. And to me, this is a pretty big dream right here, is having these particular, affirmations that I'm going to try to chase down in a very focused way. Gabby, people are checking in?
Yep, we've got lots.
Go ahead.
Andy Escott Carrington says, every day equals remember life is not a rehearsal. Today will never come again.
Andy, I love it. It's often, I say it as a joke sometimes. Bonnie and I play games for dog food. And sometimes she will take, let's say, half an hour to completely rearrange the game, mess it up. She loses points and whatnot. And my joke to her is, I'll never get that half hour back. And in a less joking way, we can all say, you wasted this day. And when I say waste, that's up to you to decide what's fulfilling or what's wasting. You could just sit out in the backyard in the sun and look up at the trees. Is that wasting life? No, if that's what you decide to do. If you're conscious and there's pleasure in it, and you're dreaming big outdoors, but you will never get to do this day over again. I'll never get to do age 69 over again. So I'm going to do it with these mantras. Andy, thank you for that comment.
Leah Whitener Schlobaum says, beautiful, happy New Year, Diana. I remember the man you and I met on a shoot for CNBC who painted pictures of horses with their manes flowing in the wind as they ran. After being in a Chinese labor camp where he dreamed of being free, he decided that he was going to paint pictures of freedom once he was released. He painted one for us, and I still have it in my house above my mantle. I think of him and how peaceful he was after such a horrific experience. It makes me calm down and move on when little things bother me. Need to have more of that in our lives.
Leah, first of all, I'm so happy to hear from you. I always loved working with you. You were so darn smart and so darn funny. And I don't remember that situation that you're talking about. And you know what? I'd love to see that picture. If you would take a picture of it and send it to my Facebook page and share it with people. I just love to see it. What an incredible image of a free horse to a man who was held captive with, you know, with all that equine strength and galloping freedom with the wind in his mane. I'd love to see that picture, and I bet you all our fans here would love to see it too. Take good care, Leah. Nice to hear from you.
Beth Brooks says, I keep a gratitude jar and read all my entries on New Year's Day. Great way to remember wonderful things that happen throughout the year.
So Beth, all year long, hi Beth, Happy New Year. All year long, you literally jot down things you're grateful for and you put them in a jar. I'd like to hear how many of those you get to. I mean, you know, I guess, you know, we could say every single day you could find something you're grateful for. And on the other hand, we get busy. We get annoyed. So some days we say there wasn't one thing that day I could say I was grateful for, unless we try, unless we're conscious of finding that gratitude. That's fantastic. Write back even during this session if you're still there and tell me how many are in that gratitude jar from 2018. I'd like to hear. Maybe even an example, one or two.
Jane Pajansky Williams says, I am focusing on the word vast. I feel I'm getting too caught up in some very small things, and the universe and the time is vast. I will use this word to keep me centered and peaceful this year.
Jane, vast. That's deep. That encompasses a number of the things that I'm talking about, right? Especially dream big. But I love that. Sometimes I just can't believe, you know, how petty I get involved in petty little arguments and you know, even with a clerk at a coffee shop or something that, you know, wasn't quite the truth the way it came out. And I just love that word vast. As you say, the universe is vast. Our minds and our lives are vast. What a great word. I like it. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to throw it into a couple of my days and be vastly happy on Wednesdays. Thank you.
Anne-Marie Rakovich says, I'm thinking these 6 mantras are about giving. Giving to oneself, giving to others, and to the community and to the world. Thank you for all you give to the Everwalk community.
Well, you know, I appreciate that, Anne-Marie. And, you know, I guess I'm too, I don't know, maybe ego-driven. To think of that way. You know, I honestly was sitting down just thinking of my own life. How can I enrich my life? But of course, when you're talking about being kind and being in awe and being out in the world and expressing all that appreciation and that, you know, that capturing of the moment of things that are making your lives rich. Of course, it's giving on the other side. It's inspiring. You know, I think it was Margaret Mead, the sociologist and anthropologist, who years ago said, change never happens in a big scope. You know, we can't look and say, oh my word, we've ruined the earth. We are heading into the destruction of the human race because of the way we've treated Mother Earth. The signals have been strong for decades now about what we're doing to the air, to the water, pollution, plastic usage, etc. So it becomes so big and overwhelming when we hear that, you know, most of the cities on coasts around the world are going to be underwater fairly soon. Fairly soon. Like if you're planning on having grandchildren and great-grandchildren, it does not bode well, you know, for those future generations, what's going to happen to this planet. So we could say, well, it's just, my gosh, that's too big. I can't do anything about that. What is my little, you know, making sure I don't use small plastic bottles anymore, I'm going to use one water container, do? Well, it does a lot. There's 7 billion of us. So where was I going with this? What did she say? Gabby's already scrolled down to the next person.
About giving, that they were about giving.
Yeah,
and you said that it was more ego, but that you're right.
About giving. So that's it. Thank you. So Margaret Mead's point is that you do change in your household. and then expand that to your family and your closest friends, your circle, and then expand that to the neighborhood where you live, then the place where you work, and the places where you shop. If you start acting a certain way, it does give, it does expand, it inspires other people to live by those same mantras. They don't know that you had a mantra to be kind on Wednesdays, but all of a sudden you're going around everywhere just, being very thoughtful and sweet to people and talking in a calm, giving voice. They're going to start doing the same. They are. So, I didn't think of it that way. I thought it was all just selfish mantras for my own life, but you're right. It's part of giving.
Gabriella Greco says, Happy New Year, friend.
Hi, Gabriella. Happy New Year to you, honey.
My mantra is simply be kind, be happy, and to always, always have a heightened consciousness for everything and everyone around me. My sister's best friend died in a car accident right before the holidays, one of 3 losses, 26 years old. We found out that he was a donor. He's already saved 6 lives. That absolutely does something to your perspective. So yeah, heightened consciousness, being present and kind, sending you love.
Yeah, well, Gabriella, you're always so inspiring yourself. I hope you don't mind. I always, reach back and tell your story if people don't know, but you were born with a momentary lack of oxygen and wound up with some, permanent physical disabilities because of that. And you, and I know your mother, strong and believing in you and all the talents you have, got behind you and said, okay, we got a couple of choices here. Either you go into a wheelchair, and not that there's anything wrong with spending one's life in a wheelchair. If that's the way it needs to be done, people are very strong and committed to living a huge life out of a chair. But you and your mother decided to press on and try to walk through life. And that's what you've done. So to hear you say that, you had a friend who died so young and donated all those organs and has now helped 6 other people live. That's a very positive story. So consciousness, I think you'll notice almost all my mantras certainly draw in the concept of consciousness with them. You can't be any of these things. Dreaming big and being positive and being kind, being in awe without being very aware of what you're doing, where you are every day. I know I'm happiest if I go to sleep at night just bone tired from everything I put into that day, and I feel like I may not have done everything right, but if I feel like I was awake and alert every minute from the second I opened my eyes in the morning to the moment I finally dozed off at night, if I was not just, oh, guy, I ate that whole pizza, I didn't even pay attention. How could I have eaten that whole pizza? I don't want to be that person. I want to be like you, Gabriella, and be absolutely conscious in choosing what I do. Happy New Year to you.
Beth Brooks chimed back in. She says, Diana and Gabby, I wrote about 60 entries this past year.
Wow.
Short notes with names of friends, neighbors, events. Example, my neighbors who walk their dogs when I walk Buddy. I so appreciate their friendships.
There you go. I love that. 60 is quite a lot of gratitude in one year. Good for you, Beth. I'll be seeing you soon, right? Key West, am I right? Okay. Happy New Year, Beth.
Donna Shackelford says you look like you're in your 30s.
Well, Gabby and I choose this room because the lighting is very golden and you get a chance to not quite show all the aging. You know what? I tell you the truth, it's honest, is that I have an amount of vanity, like anybody. If I go out at night and it's a dressy thing, I want to try to look nice body-wise and face-wise. But honestly, I don't care about aging. I look direct in the mirror and say, yeah, you got plenty of a 69-year-old face. You got plenty of it, and who cares? If every second I spend fretting about my aging, not my energy aging or fitness aging or emotional aging, but my actual physical cosmetic aging. Every second I spend worrying about that, I've just wasted a moment that I could have been living with this aging body. So I do think my mom was pretty darn young looking when she was 82. She literally didn't have a wrinkle on her face. She never needed glasses. I don't either. She never up to 82 was reading a menu very, very clearly, etc. But she didn't care about aging also in that way. And I think that's a good way. Talk about being conscious. That's not the consciousness that I want to spend my time in, worrying about lines on the face and whatnot. But 30s, I'm not.
Soulful Road says, "Hi Diana, it's Kim from Key West, but now I'm living in Spain on the Camino de Santiago.
No way!
When we met at SALT, your dream was to swim from Cuba, and mine was to live in Spain and be of service to pilgrims walking the Camino. Yours came first, and now I'm living mine. Hope to see you again one day. Thank you for your inspiration."
That's unbelievable, Kim. I remember so well when you walked the Camino the first time, you wrote a letter to yourself, you told me, and you buried it. You literally buried it underground, and when you got done with all those months of contemplating, you read the letter, because the letter was telling yourself who you want to be and how you want to live. I don't know, not sure if this is going to work. I'm going to pick this up, Gabby, just for a second. Okay, I'm going to walk into my office, because Kim, you're going to love this. It's a little darker in here, but do you see this painting? Do you see this photograph on my wall? I got this from you. So this was the actual photograph that was on the wall of the cottage I was living in Key West. And it's actually a grandmother, not a man. I thought it was a man for a while, who's looking out at the sea. And I was training all those hours. It was tough. Every time I'd come in, I'd take a look at this photo. It has a beautiful Pablo Neruda. Let me read it for everybody, because I know you know it, Kim. But it has a Pablo Neruda line from one of his poems written down here, carved into the wood. It says, "I know you won't believe me, but it sings. Salt sings. Dust of the sea. In you, the tongue receives a kiss from ocean night. In it, we taste infinitude." Pablo Neruda, Ode to Salt. We taste infinitude. Kim, I used to come into your art shop in Key West, and you were never a salesperson. You never wanted to push me to buy anything. We just talked about life, and I can't believe you wound up living on the Camino. That is so darn inspiring. It's great to hear from you. I hope you keep in touch with me and with all of us. Take care, Kim.
Pam Singleton says, "Since saying yes to life this year, I'm moving forward with designing and building my dream home in Sedona. I've kept a gratitude jar for years. Your name is in it. Happy New Year."
Wow, Pam, that is so, I just got chills all over. Pam Singleton, for all of you, is a very talented photographer and photo editor. And for my book, which I'm proud of the book to start with, my memoir, which is Find a Way. It's won a number of awards, but they allowed me, the publisher, which is very expensive these days, 103 photos. And Pam Singleton came here to LA and sat with me at my big dining room table. We took 103 photos and mapped them out. Which should go into this category, which in this, how should this one be formatted a little more vertical than the other one? How should we paste them out in two different sections in the book? And Pam, I will always be grateful, talk about gratitude to you for the talent and the care that you put into the photos in this book. I'm very, very proud of the photo sections. And for those who also don't know, Pam, pretty young, younger than me, and fit and lean and, in pretty darn good shape, went through open heart surgery just a couple of months ago. It shocked the heck out of her that she had to do it. And she now has a buffered up, new, stronger heart. And Pam, I think about you all the time. And Pam took the beautiful photo of Lorraine Brazier, whom we lost this week, that's on our Facebook page. So I'm grateful for you as well, Pam. You take good care. I'm glad your heart is now strong and healthy.
Perfect. Adriana Della Parra says, "Love your passion. Agree focusing is vital. Thank you and Happy New Year. And even though, yes, we may do these 6 mantras, I like how you've broken it down, taking it one day at a time."
Thanks, Adriana. Like I say, I think it's going to be challenging. I hope that I don't look at myself in a month or two and say, this is ridiculous. I can't keep up with this. I can barely keep up with, daily life, much less looking at an affirmation every morning and keeping it in my mind. I might get a little something on my watch to remind me of what that day is. But I'm going to try. And I'll let you know about a year from now if it all worked out.
Anne-Marie Rakovich says, I call them intentions, and I try to intend daily.
Yeah, there you go. And that, sort of in an authentic way lets you off the hook. Like if I have the intention of following these 6 mantras day by day by day, and then having them bleed into, a synergetic life. And I could say to you a year from now, I used to always dream big. And I used to always, try to be kind and find happiness and be in awe and whatnot. But now I live it that way. I live every day that way. That's my intention right now, but it's okay. We have intentions that we don't necessarily aren't able to capitalize on. But I like that word, intention. These are my intention to fulfill these affirmations day by day. Anybody else, Gabby?
Yep.
Okay.
Brian Leakway says, Happy New Year, Diana. I retired after a few years ago after a 37-year career in the Air Force. I've been fortunate to meet many inspirational leaders and speakers during my career. You were my commencement speaker when I graduated from Bloomsburg State College in 1982, and I'll never forget your positive message. There's no doubt you inspired me to face challenges head on. Thank you for that.
That's awesome. First of all, thank you for your service in the Air Force, Brian. That's awesome. So you graduated from college in 1982, which makes me figure out your age pretty quickly. And clearly, if I was the commencement speaker, I was older than you were at that time. So we got that straight away. But thank you very much for writing in. I really appreciate your keeping in touch, Brian. Take care.
I know you spoke a little bit about Lorraine earlier, but Pam said, can you talk a bit about Lorraine, please?
Lorraine Brazier, the first epic Everwalk that we did. I don't know if you guys follow us on Everwalk, but I hope so. It's kind of a mandate. You can't follow me without following me and Bonnie and Everwalk. Okay, so it's everwalk.com. Our goal is to get 1 million Americans up walking with us, with Everwalk Nation. Bonnie keeps saying, why do you have to say that? Why do you say 1 million? We only have several thousand now. Let's shoot for 50,000. And I say no, because I want to dream big. And I don't care about failure. I'd rather dream big and be inspired and shoot for that 1 million and not make it than dream small and not be inspired. So anyway, Everwalk, we do a number of things, and I hope you guys will all go on and make sure, just click Everwalk Nation and just click join. There's no money commitment, nothing, but you'll follow us, get our newsletter, and hopefully start walking with us virtually or in real places. We have ambassadors leading walks every first Saturday of the month all over the country, like tomorrow. So join us. And where was I going with that? Everwalk. Lorraine. Our first epic walk, we do walks that are about 140 miles, about 20 miles a day. Our first one was October 2016, and we went here along the Southern California coast from Los Angeles to San Diego. And there was a woman who was tall. And would you say Lorraine was 6 feet tall? About. There's a woman who was blonde, tall, kind of sassy, always stood with her hands on her hips. She's good looking, a huge, radiant smile. I mean, you could see her smile from a mile away walking down the way. Made friends with everybody. If people were having trouble, Lorraine would get to them and help them through their blisters, help them talk them out of feeling like a quitter if what they really should do is give it up for a few hours and join back in later. She just was the light of the whole group, and everybody felt it. We all made friends with Lorraine, and then the next year, just, she's exactly my age, just healthy, happy, has a wonderful family. Just her blood counts were a little off, her platelets and white blood cell counts were a little off, and we were about to do our walk, our second epic, which was Boston up to Cape Elizabeth, Maine, the classic New England coast, and Lorraine had trained for it. She had a bunch of buddies among us Everwalkers now, and she was ready to go, and she called me and Bonnie and said, my doctor doesn't want me to do it. He said, it's probably wind out okay, but my immune system is a little low. I'll tell you what, I'm going to come be a volunteer. So she did, and she was out there with that same blazing smile style. Gabby and Lorraine worked very closely together. She's just a total, and Gabby's a lot like this too, can do. You got a problem? They don't say, oh, it can't be done. So sorry, it's just, that's impossible. That's stupid. They both, and Lorraine was big on this, was like, well, let me think about it for a couple of minutes. I'm sure we can do something. And her family describes her as that all her life she was a person who took a big batch of lemons and squeezed them and filtered a little honey in and made lemonade out of it. So Lorraine, just a couple of months ago, the numbers went down after a number of treatments. She was scheduled for a blood marrow transplant next month, February. And her doctors wouldn't do it. There's no surgeon who would do it because it would basically be a fatal operation. Her numbers were so low. She was going to come to our Key West April service walk, and because she couldn't, she gave 2 scholarships in her name of people who really wanted to participate with us in Key West. We walk in the morning and work for Habitat for Humanity in the afternoon. That's the first week of April. She gave 2 scholarships, and now Bonnie and I have decided, and Gabby, to initiate a Key West scholarship every year in Lorraine Brazier's name. So just last night was the cremation, and at 8 p.m. Pacific time, a lot of us who knew and loved Lorraine lit a candle in her name and in her spirit and in her honor. She has a wonderful daughter, Jill, who writes children's books. She has a loving, devoted husband who, the other day when he was telling me about the breadth of her talents, just started crying as to she could do anything, and she did everything. So life is unfair sometimes. And Lorraine, I think, somehow in a very quick 3 days from the time she left the hospital, went into hospice, she made that bold decision herself to pass at home. In that very short 3 days, she, in shock because it all happened so fast, this can't be, not this strong, healthy person. She came to some peace, just like her, in a quick amount of time, and said, what a great life, what incredible people. What a privilege it was to live this life. So that was Lorraine Brazier. Shall we end on that note?
Yep.
Happy mantras to all of you. And again, you don't have to have mantras, affirmations, intentions, but it would be great once you are looking at this and sharing it with friends or going back to see it later. If you'd write in to share your intentions and who you want to be and what you want to do. I hope you all dream big. I hope you're all kind, and I hope you all find awe in your lives. Happy New Year.